Hi, this is Sal Tuzzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus, the big top of sports talk radio. Did you hear this?
And then I did, Super Bowl as a player, assistant coach, and 2 as a head coach. And working for Al Davis, I should be in the Hall of Fame just working for Al Davis.
Right. Clown around with us and stream the show online at thesportcircus.com. Join me and special guest 3-time national champion and 4-time Rose Bowl champion coach John Robinson this Saturday morning from 8 to 9 here on NBC Sports 920, The Game. Okay, welcome back to the final segment for the Sports Circus. Remember, the Sports Circus is on tomorrow, NBC Sports 920, The Game, here in Las Vegas, or you can stream the show live at thesportcircus.com. Be sure to check it out. We have a special guest. It's from 8 to 9 a.m. tomorrow. Again, 920 The Game, here in Las Vegas, NBC Sports. So this segment is brought to you by Rising Above Search Engine Optimization, providing the best SEO, web design, and social media management on the internet. Give them a call at 855-747-4641 or visit them at risingaboveseo.com. So, our final segment is going to cover the National Hockey League. And of course, we have the National Hockey League behind. Looks like actually I'm on the ice, but I'm not. Kind of a cool picture, though. So, in the NHL, we're sort of getting to the trade deadline as well as the NBA is getting into the trade deadline. But the NHL trade deadline is March 1st. And so there's going to be a lot of moves. But before we get to that, let's take a look at 5 teams in particular. You've got 5 teams that are really surging right now. And those would be, of course, well, the Washington Capitals have been surging for the entire year. But the Chicago Blackhawks are back on track again. The Minnesota Wild have been steady as they go. They lead the way in the Central. The St. Louis Blues are really starting to play very, very good hockey. And I think a lot of it has to do with a coaching change because they fired their last coach and they brought in Mike Yeo. And Mike is doing a fantastic job, just like he did with Minnesota before he lost his job there. Nevertheless, St. Louis has a hell of a coach. They're playing very, very good hockey right now. Very dangerous team. And, of course, the New York Rangers have been steady through most of the year as well. So you've got these 5 teams. And let's face it, out of these 5 teams, you're going to probably see at least one of them, maybe 2, represent the Stanley Cup Finals. And I mean, as I could see it, Washington Capitals is going to be very, very hard to beat. Very hard to beat in the East, and they will probably represent the East. The only team I think that could upset them would be the Montreal Canadiens. Not really sure what's going to happen there, but as Sal the Bookmaker, as you could see right here, there's been a lot of predictions in the last several months, and I've absolutely killed it. Just smashed it. I was at 81.5% for the whole football season, college and pro. 81.5% against the line. That's lunacy. Nobody does that. I can't believe I did that. Maybe it's just lucky, but is that through the whole year you're lucky? I don't know. Anyway, so back to the hockey news. The last 25 years, there have been some teams that have just made the playoffs over and over and over. Chicago did it for 22 years in a row, I believe it was. And Detroit did it for the last 25 years. That's going to come to an end this year. They've had a great run. I got to tell you, I'm not really pleased with the Detroit Red Wings in the first place because it's just not my team. It's that Detroit-Chicago thing. So let's put it this way. At every game, this is great because there's always a chant. And at every game, it doesn't matter who's playing in the United Center against the Blackhawks, you'll always hear the chant, Detroit sucks. Detroit sucks. Over and over. It's the best thing in sports. You can't beat it. That is the most heated rivalry in all of sports. Fights in the fans. It's almost as bad as Bears-Packers, but then again in college hoops, it's Duke and Carolina. So Detroit, I got to tell you, I'm not really not thrilled about you, but it's too bad that your playoff run is coming to an end. And you know what, by the way, your guys, Gustav Nyquist, slashing players in the face? Are you kidding me? That guy, he only got a 6-game suspension for taking his stick, whacking, who the hell was it? It was Jared Spurgeon from the Minnesota Wild. The blade came right under his eye, under the mask, or under his visor. And of course, the former Detroit Red Wing and the player that went into the position for enforcing penalties and enforcing suspensions, former Detroit Red Wing. What a coincidence. Brendan Shanahan. He only gave him 6 games. 6. He should have got 25 games. That's complete lunacy. Everybody, whether it's on Pardon the Interruption on ESPN or Mike and Mike or Jay Moore or whoever, any of these shows, they all say the same thing. There's no way that Nyquist should have got 6 games. You should have got a hell of a lot more. That's completely ridiculous. I don't understand it. I think the guys on, what's the name of that show on ESPN at 2 o'clock Pacific time? It's where they have the 4 guys. Anyway, the 4 men and women, whatever. Anyway, that show, they had a great breakdown, a great analysis of why not only should he have been suspended for more than 6 games, but what really should have happened. And these are the sports writers from the biggest papers, and whether there's New York, L.A., Chicago, Miami, whatnot. The name escapes me. It doesn't matter. Anyway, but the point being is this guy got off easy, and then you look at a guy like Antoine Vermette. He gets 10 games suspension, 10 games for taking the stick and slashing the referee. 10 games? That guy should be gone for the entire year. First of all, any player that uses the stick as a weapon, like a sword, they should be gone for the entire year. Not 6 games or 10 games or some crap like that. That's just complete lunacy. It's not fair. And how do you think the referees feel? I mean, hockey is the toughest sport to play out of the Big Four. There's no question. We had this discussion earlier today, or actually between segments. Hockey, it goes at a rate of 20 to 30 miles an hour. You have a puck traveling at 100 miles an hour. You have blades sharp as razors. There's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, by the way, fighting is legal. So you can go get your ass kicked in there, come back 5 minutes later, and get into yet another fight. Just so many crazy things can happen. Clearly the toughest game to play, and it is certainly the least paid out of the Big Four. So another discussion. Everyone says, well, basketball has the best athletes in the world. You're out of your mind. They don't. Hockey has the best players, the best athletes out of the Big Four. No question. Maybe rugby, as we start extending, in soccer as we get into other sports. Anyway, back to the other. Crosby gets his 1,000 points. Congratulations to him. Jaromir Jagr, on his 45th birthday, gets his 1,900th point. Jaromir Jagr, you are incredible. I remember, I have your rookie hockey card from in 1990, 91. So this guy is just incredible, and he just keeps doing it. He's going to play for 5 more years. It's unbelievable. The Toronto Maple Leafs are back in the playoff picture. Maybe. You never know what's going to happen. Babcock's really got that team going. He left Detroit. He left Detroit, and he went over to Toronto. He's rebuilding this team. You got guys that had plus minuses of minus 20, minus 25, and now they're right around 0. So that means he's really teaching these kids how to play the right way. Babcock, he is the Canadian Olympic coach every year. He's a great coach, and there's a reason for it. He's really good at it. So I started to talk about the trade deadline earlier, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that right now because we have just a couple of minutes. Now, the St. Louis Blues are going to move Kevin Shattenkirk more than likely either to the New York Rangers or the Boston Bruins. Not really sure where he's going to go. I think he's going to probably go to the Rangers. It seems to be the better fit. They've got a little bit more money. Pittsburgh is shopping Marc-Andre Fleury. Now, Marc-Andre Fleury is supposed to be the goalie set aside to come here to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And I don't know what's going to happen there. My guess is he may end up in St. Louis because, let's face it, St. Louis is certainly hungry for a goalie. They need some help. Matt Duchene from the Colorado Avalanche is going to either end up in Chicago. Nashville is the number 1 pick so far. Pittsburgh or Carolina, they're going to be the highest bidders. The Boston Bruins are also after Matt Duchene and Landeskog from the Avalanche. So we'll see about that one. The Wings' Thomas Vanek is definitely going to get moved. I think he's going to get it moved to either L.A. or Ottawa. Chicago is a long shot. Not really sure about that. Arizona has got a couple of interesting moves. Martin Hansel's going to probably go to Montreal for Galchenyuk, and they're probably going to move the goalie, Smith. Smith is going to probably go to either St. Louis or another team that's really hungry, maybe even Edmonton, because they certainly need some help there. And you're going to see Johnny Oduya or Patrick Sharp go back to the Chicago Blackhawks because the Hawks are in need of another blue liner with Oduya. Who knows? Vegas is going to get involved in all these trades, and they've got draft picks to work with, and who knows what's going to happen from there. So I want to give a big shout out to some friends here of the Sports Circus, and these are my friends John and Rich and Bob and Armando from the franchise, AM 830 KLAA in Southern California. You can catch me as Sal the Bookmaker on the franchise, 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you can or listen to the show live at AM 830 KLAA in Southern California or at sal.vegas. Click the live link. For tomorrow's show, Bo Kimball, NBA star, NCAA star, NBC Sports, 9:20 the game, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., or stream the show live at thesportscircus.com. Until next week, have a great one, and we'll see you soon.